While the eNCA election bus is in Soweto this afternoon, now this community has produced some of the country's most famous political leaders, but it seems there's a new power struggle with residents owing Eskom nearly 17 billion rand. My colleague Xoli Mngambe is tracking that story for us. You know, Xoli, the place that you're at is obviously looking at, it's near Klipspruit, and from Klipspruit, it's obviously the Morris Isaacson school there. Significant history when we're looking at the history of Soweto, significant history when you're looking at how many individuals and leaders actually came from there, including President Cyril Ramaphosa, who's got a house in Soweto, including Nelson Mandela the late. So when we're talking about this rich history that is inculcated with some of the realities being actually experienced by residents, it says something about this, what should have been a heritage site, a site to really endure for generations to come, having to confront themselves with daily issues, especially around power supply.
Indeed, Faith, you know, you've summed it up really well, that the rich history, political history that is, that Soweto has over other townships in the country. Importantly, though, Faith, I've got to tell you that this township also has a debt of about 17 billion rand that is owed to Eskom, but that debt comes about as a result of a political decision, Faith, that was taken at some point by the leaders during the struggle, or should I say during the fight against apartheid. And so at some point, residents in Soweto were told that they should not pay for services. In fact, services will be delivered to them for free in order to cripple the then government of the Nationalist Party. And so the culture, therefore, of non-payment set in. And with me now, Faith, is the customer service senior manager in the Gauteng region, and that is Daphne Mokoena, who is going to talk to us about how it is that they hope to recover this amount of money that is owed to Eskom. Remember that collectively, that institution has a debt of about 420 billion rand. 17 billion of that comes from this very township of Soweto. Ms. Mokoena, thank you very much for your time. Firstly, talk to us about how bad is the situation. Is that bill still at 17 billion rand as we speak?
Yes, Xoli, we're still sitting at 17 billion rand debt in Soweto, 11.9 billion being the interest and about 6.3 billion being the capital thereof. Yes.
Okay, so technically we are at 11 billion rand if you add the interest.
The interest I think is 11.9. The capital is 6.3.
Yes. All right, that's a massive amount of money. Talk to us about efforts to try and recover this amount. What is Eskom doing, and what have you done over the years to try and have this money recovered?
Okay. Yeah, as you alluded, it's not easy actually to change the culture, but we need to start somewhere to change that culture of non-payment, which we are experiencing in actually Soweto and most of our townships. And currently, and in the previous years, starting from 2014, actually 2010, we have rolled out what we call split metering projects. And this basically is to say customers need to, we installing prepaid meters. So customers are not encouraged to actually being paying postpaid. So prepaid, the advantages of prepaid is that customers can actually manage their consumption, because you can actually budget how much you want to consume and how much you want to pay Eskom at the end of the month.
But you and I, Ms. Mokoena, know very well that that attempt to try and install these prepaid meters has put you on a collision course with the residents of Soweto. How has the process been, or how easy, perhaps I should phrase my question, how easy has it been for residents to allow you to get into their properties in order to install these prepaid meters?
Look, it's not easy, as I said, that, changing a culture, especially of non-payment. If I wasn't paying for any services and all of a sudden I have to pay for that services, it's not going to be an easy task for us actually to change that overnight. But we engage with customers, we engage, and we involve other stakeholders like the councillors in the areas. We discuss and tell the customers what the benefits of prepaid meters are. And most of our customers actually are willing to actually get this prepaid meters into their houses, because what this does, because normally you'd see that during winter, if we don't manage the consumption of customers by installing the prepaid, because of, for an example, most of the residents in Soweto have backyard dwellers. Now, we cannot, our networks are designed for 1 meter in a house. Now, we find that you've got a stand with more than 1 meter in a house because of the number of backyard dwellers they have. So they're consuming more than they're supposed to. And during winter, we experience a lot of power outages. But you'll see in the areas where we have actually installed prepaid meters, like in Orlando East, where we are currently, the residents are actually enjoying their winter season as much as they are enjoying their summer season.
Because they don't get cut off. All right, let me add this particular question to the mix. We've just come from the Dube hostel, and the Dube residents or hostel residents are usually the first to come out in the streets when they get cut off. And it was quite interesting what they told us. They are paying towards their electricity consumption. They said everything combined, from water, electricity supply, sanitation, refuse removal, combined, they pay 21 rands, I guess, per unit within the hostel. You can only make your calculations then from there how much they contribute towards Eskom. How is that possible when everybody else in Gauteng, for example, pays in excess of perhaps 3,000 rand and upwards for electricity?
Yeah. For an example, in Eskom, we're charging per kilowatt hour about 1.13 rand, for a small power user. But in hostels, I must say that all of our hostels in Soweto in particular, we are actually metering them in bulk supply. So basically, the reticulation inside the hostels, it's actually belongs to the city or to City Power. So they are actually paying us the bulk supply. So they are the ones that are collecting that 21 rand, if it is 21 rands per unit. But obviously, in terms of the bulk meter, we metering them on what is being consumed by all the units within a hostel.
All right.
So basically, from our side, we are collecting what is due to Eskom from the hostels.
All right. It is unfortunately the challenges of television. We are out of time, but I've got to put this twofold question to you. We are just a few weeks away from the 8th of May, which is election day. What are you going to do in trying to persuade people to pay their electricity bill? Are you going to cut them off? Keep in mind that we're in election here. But second of all, what is the solution to this 17 billion rand tag? Is it perhaps to scrap it altogether?
Okay. I think from the SONA speech that the president made during the SONA, he made it clear that people should pay for their services. And hence, we're still continuing with our strategies of split metering, of converting customers to prepaid, and those that are not paying, we're disconnecting. And we are not actually reducing our speed, if you may like, now moving towards the elections. So we are continuing with that strategy, so that we may even collect more than we have collected in who knows, since we started with this strategy.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for your time. It does seem that you have a massive fight in your hands as we lead to May the 8th, Faith. So that's where we're going to leave it with Daphne Mokoena, Eskom's Customer Services Senior Manager here in the Gauteng region. So it does appear that Soweto residents, at some point, they actually are going to have to make up for that 17 billion rand tag in debt that they owe to the power utility Eskom. That's where we're going to leave things for the time being, Faith. And I think after this, we're certainly going to get into an engagement of a different kind. We're going to try and speak to entrepreneurs in the township of Soweto, looking